What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. And this time, we're going to be taking a look at the 2009 remake of Last House on the Left, directed by Dennis Ilerius. And I'm just going to flat out say it. I think this remake is superior to the original movie. Now, I respect the original movie and what it meant in the long run for launching the career of Wes Craven and being one of those first horror movies to really have its setting take place in a more grounded, realistic way. But when you compare the two works, you can clearly tell that The Last House on the Left, from a technical standpoint, that movie just looks so amateur and it looks very sloppy and very choppy in a lot of areas. And the acting, when you watch it now, can be really, really hokey. When you watch the new movie, you can clearly tell there's a vast difference. I think this movie is really well directed. I thought Dennis Illidius did a fantastic job behind the director's chair. He creates a good atmosphere. He knows how to pace his scenes and pace his story. There's a lot of tension in this movie. There's a lot of suspense in this movie, and you have a solid cast that are completely game all throughout this movie. You have a cast that includes Tony Goldwyn, Monica Porter, and Sarah Paxton. They play the Collingwood family, and I really, really enjoy all three of them as the heroes of the piece. I like how they have a family backstory. At the start of this movie, it's we find out that they used to have two kids in addition to just Mary. They had a son, but the son had died, and they don't really explain how the son dies. And I've always wondered just exactly what happened. But the family is, they're reeling from their son's death, so they have a backstory. There's a tragedy to them. It makes them sympathetic in a way. However, they're still a well-to-do family, and they still come across as really, really likable. Tony Goldwyn's performance in this movie, I thought he was great. I thought Monica Porter was equally as good. I like the chemistry she has with Tony Goldwyn. I buy them as being husband and wife. They really work really well together. And I really enjoyed Sarah Paxton as Mary. She gives Mary a very tragic yet very likable quality to her. And she doesn't come across as flaky as I thought the Mary in the original movie did. Where the original movie Mary had no personality to me, Sarah Paxton has some on-screen charisma to her, and she gives Mary a little life. So that way, when Mary and her friend are being viciously assaulted by Krug and his crew, I feel for the characters. I feel for Mary. I feel for her friend Paige, because they're both being viciously assaulted. But prior to that happening, we got a chance to know them a little bit, know their history a little bit. Therefore, making me relate to them as characters and not just reacting to the scene itself, as opposed to the original movie where I didn't really care for them as characters because they just have like blank slate for me. But the only thing that made me feel for them was the actual scene that took place. But in this movie, I feel for these characters when the assaults happen. I have my sympathy is more towards these characters now. So I attribute all that to the acting. Now you got the other side of the coin, where you have the villains of the piece. You have Garrett Delahunt as Krug. You have Aaron Paul, Jesse from Breaking Bad, playing his brother Francis. You have Sadie, whose actress's name I can't remember, and you have Spencer Treat Clark playing Justin, Krug's son. And I thought all four of them were great in their roles. I thought the girl who played Sadie, she was okay. She was okay. I thought her acting was the weakest of the bunch. I didn't really buy her as what she was doing. She just came across very weak to me. Aaron Paul as Francis, I like Paul as Francis. I thought Aaron Paul was really, really good as Francis. He had that right amount of sinisterness to him and that right amount of just douchebaggery to him. I think Spencer Tree Clark as Justin came across as very, very innocent, very, very likable. And I like how Justin befriends the two girls before the shit hits the fan, giving him a connection to two of them, because Justin legitimately liked these two, and he didn't. And when the shit hits the fan, he is just appalled and just scared shitless as to what's happened to them two, and he just can't do anything because he is frozen in fear. And that brings me to Krug, played by Garrett Delahunt. Now, I overall think David Hess as Krug was one of the shining points of the original Last House on the Left movie. However, I think Delahunt gives Hess a run for his money. I think Garrett Delahunt played a more grounded, realistic, and sadistic Krug. Mainly because there were moments where David Hess could be going too over the top and he doesn't really dial it down. Delahunt, on the other hand, he keeps it very grounded and very dialed down. And to me, that comes across as much more scarier and much more intimidating. So that when the assaults happen, you are legitimately in fear of this man Krug because he is just so calm when it happens, but when the man gets enraged, he gets enraged. And I love the opening scene where we see Krug in the back of a police car, and he and his crew pretty much kill the two police officers. And right off the bat, you're immediately, the tone is set for these two. They did something very vicious to these two cops, and now you're completely on edge as to when Mary's and her friend are going to eventually be abducted by these two. We're going to be on edge for the entire time. And the whole woods scene of this movie, it's more graphic in this movie, and a rape scene is a rape scene. I don't like it. I'll never like it. But again, for a movie like this, I understand it, and it works in context because you're trying to portray, this this pure beauty, and you're seeing these degenerates take away that beauty in a very sinister and sadistic way. So I like the meaning behind it. That doesn't mean I like the scene itself. The rape scene in this movie is very uncomfortable. It's extremely hard to watch. It's a little more graphic than it is in the original movie. So for shock value, it works, and for story context, it works. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it no more. I don't want to dwell on it. But of course, again, this movie, of course, follows the same template as the original movie. These four degenerates, they attack these two girls, leave them for dead. Then they take refuge at the Collingwood house, where it's revealed that the girl they attacked is actually their daughter. And of course, when the shit hits the fan, the shit hits the fan. This movie's got good tension. Like I said, it's got good tension, got good suspense. The performances in this movie, they all work, and each one of these villains gets their comeuppance in a good way. Francis, he gets his hand pretty much shredded off by a dishwasher, and then he gets a hammer to the back of the head. Sadie gets it in the eye, Mo Green special. And Krug gets it the worst of all. He gets strapped to a table, he gets paralyzed, and then his head explodes when it's in a microwave. So yeah, all these villains, they get knocked off in really, really gruesome ways, and Mary actually survives. And as opposed to the original movie where Mary dies, in this movie, they save Mary's life, and Justin, Krug's son, in the original movie, he kills himself. In this movie, Justin survives as well. So they don't set it up for a sequel, which thank God, because I don't know where the hell you can go for a sequel. What we call Last House on the Left, the one and done is more fine to me. But this movie has a more satisfying ending to me. It actually has a more complete ending, as opposed to the original movie where the movie just stops. There's no resolution or anything. But this movie has the perfect ending with Krug's head exploding, and that's where the movie stops. And I like it. I enjoy it. So yeah, overall, I think the remake of Last House on the Left is really, really, really good. This is an underrated remake. It outdoes the original in every which way possible. This was a necessary remake to me because the original movie, when you look back at it, it's just not a good movie. I was very, very lenient to the original movie, and I still will be because I recognize the importance of what it did in the overall run. But it's just not a good movie as a whole. This, on the other hand, this is a good movie and a good remake, which is why I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. I enjoy Last House on the Left remake. It's really damn good and really underrated. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Last House on the Left. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would like to know. Also, if you want to see my review for the original movie, I'll provide a link in both the description boxes and also in the comment sections down below as well. Like the video and subscribe, and I will check you back next time for more.